Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Free Zone, and it's the Saturday breakdown. Guys, a lot of action last night around the state and in Oklahoma and Texas. We're going to take a look at as much of it as we can. Still, obviously, schedules are fluid. There were some COVID cancellations, and we'll talk about a couple of those particularly. Obviously, we're probably not going to hit on all of those, but we'll talk about a few of them. Probably the biggest news of the night last night, the biggest score of the night last night statewide was Gardner Edgerton 28-26 over Mill Valley. Mill Valley is the defending state champion in 5A. They started off the year strong with a 45-14 win over the 6A defending champion Derby, and then a 70-21 win over number 4 ranked DeSoto. Since then, they've lost 2 in a row to Bentonville, Arkansas, and to Gardner Edgerton. So Mill Valley, I'm not going to say that they're not looking strong, because the teams that they've lost to are really good teams, but they have lost 2 in a row, and that to me was the biggest surprise of the night last night. Another game that I want to kind of highlight, because it's one of those that people are going to end up talking about. And we may come back and talk about this a little bit Wednesday. Today, I'm not going to debate the merits. I'm just going to give you the score. And that was in the biggest blowout of the night, Silver Lake 96, Oskaloosa 0. And Wednesday, we may talk about that particular game a little bit. All right, let's run through some other scores from around the state first. Then we'll get to our local leagues and the predictions, and we'll take a look at out-of-state scores as well. Here are some scores from around the state last night. Andale 42, Halstead 12. Halstead it has had a really good team. They've lost 2 in a row now, I believe. Andover 7, Goddard Eisenhower 16. In a little 6-man action, the defending state champion in 6-man Moscow went down last night to Ashland. Ashland 41, Moscow 32. Out to Blue Valley North 21, Blue Valley 28, and Blue Valley West 17, Blue Valley Northwest 40. So it's great to see the Blue Valley schools in action. This was Blue Valley West's first game of the year, I believe. Buhler 36, El Dorado 14. We talked about last week how Steve Warner had gotten win number 250. Well, he's now up to 251. So good game for the Crusaders there. Central Plains 64, Chase 14 in 8-man action. Central Plains, of course, is the name of the town just slipped right out of my mind. That's pretty sad. Anyway, Central Plains has been dominant in the last few years. Okay, DeSoto 40, Lansing 35, a close game up there in the Kansas City area. Deerfield 6, Rolla 52 in 6-man action. Rolla getting their second win of the year. That's more wins than they've had in a year for quite some time. So Rolla on a little bit of a roll. Emporia 30, Topeka Highland Park 8. That game is notable mostly for the fact that it is Highland Park's first game of the year. The Topeka schools were suspended until the 17th. They started practicing. Last night was the first game back in action for a lot of those Topeka schools. Goddard 26, Andover Central 34 in another of the more competitive games of the evening. Junction City 34, Washburn Rural 30, another close game between two powerhouses. Piper 21, Lewisburg 14. So Piper wins on the road. All of Piper's games are on the road this year. Pittsburgh 53, Kansas City Turner 0. That is Turner's first game of the year. McPherson 56, Winfield 14. Hutchinson off to a 4-0 start for the first time in several years. Hutchinson beats Newton last night 54-42. Olathe East 42, Shawnee Mission South 21. So the Olathe and Shawnee Mission schools, this is just, I think, their second game of the year. All right, they've just kind of gotten started in action. They were delayed. And Also an Olathe Shawnee Mission game. Olathe South 21, Shawnee Mission East 20. Wichita East going to the Wichita City League. Wichita East 54, Wichita South 0. Wichita Heights 72, Wichita North 0. Wichita Southeast 7, Wichita West 40. So that was action from the City League over the weekend, or last night, I guess, actually. All right. Now, we told you we were going to talk a little bit about COVID cancellations. Derby last week was kind of off and then on again, and then, as it turned out, off again. Okay, so originally it was Monday afternoon that the Wichita News Media started reporting that Derby's entire football team would be on quarantine for the next 2 weeks. By Monday evening, Derby's AD was tweeting out, no, that's not the case. The games are still on. And even Thursday, that was still, the games were still on as of Thursday. But apparently, an article that came out Friday pointed out that Derby did not play. Okay, Derby is canceled not only for this week, but for next week as well. They have suspended all football activities at Derby for at least 2 weeks. And I believe that that's because they had some additional players test positive. That's the article I read. Originally, there were 2 players that had tested positive. Then the article I read said that there were 8 players eventually that tested positive in all. But let's wish Derby the best. They're recovering from that, just like all of these teams. Sublette still did not play this week. They canceled last week. They canceled again this week here locally. Meade also still not playing this week. I think that Meade and Sublette will both be back next week, but we'll see about that. Let's take a look at some out-of-state scores. First, Oklahoma. Hooker, 50. Merritt, 15. And now these will all be district games in Oklahoma at this point now. And most of them in Kansas for the small schools are district games too. Carl Albert, 57. Guyman, 0. Texhoma, 48. Burns Flat, Dill City, 6. Winoka 56, Beaver 6. That's an 8-man game from Oklahoma. And another 8-man game from Oklahoma, Hollis 26, Balco Forgan 6. And our last 8-man game from Oklahoma, Tyrone 47, Boise City 0. So that kind of covers your Oklahoma Panhandle schools right there and how they did Friday. Now let's take a look at the Texas Panhandle. Tascosa 26, Abilene 20. Amarillo High, 40. Midland Lee, 54. Caprock, 0. Lubbock Cooper, 18. Canyon Randall, 47. Paladuro, 6. Canyon, 48. Midland Greenwood, 0. Plainview, 36. Hereford, 42. Pampa, 50. Levelland, 26. Dalhart, 46. Borger, 8. Childress, 36. Spearman, 43. Panhandle, 62. Stratford, 22. So a big 40-point win over Stratford for Panhandle. And Groover, 26. Shamrock, 16. And those are the scores that I have from around the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandles. Now, let's take a look at the what are for us the local leagues. That's the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference, the High Plains League, the GWAC, Great Western Athletic Conference, and the Southern Plains Iroquois Association, the SPIA. Now, we had Coach Rustin Watt make some picks with us too, so we'll go through these scores, and then we'll go back and look at how Coach Watt and I fared on our picks. First, the scores. Hayes at Garden City. It was Garden City's homecoming, I believe. Unfortunately, they lose their homecoming matchup. Hayes 28, Garden City 7. Dodge City was in action against Bishop Carroll last night, and Dodge City loses that one 51-20. Liberal and Ulysses. This was a game that Liberal and Ulysses kind of arranged at the last minute. Ulysses has had some cancellations by some of their opponents. Chanute, I believe, in this case. And that one, Ulysses came out on top 22-12. And Great Bend and Cape and Mount Carmel last night, that one got canceled. Cape and Mount Carmel has had a player or two test positive. I think one player test positive, and that news came out Thursday. So that one kind of canceled at the last minute there. Let's take a look at the High Plains League. Syracuse was off to a 3-0 start. They were at 2-1 TMP last night. TMP gets the 32-0 win. So Syracuse falls to 3-1 on the year. Lakin 1-2 versus Ellis 1-2, and Lakin gets an 18-12 win. In another action, another pairing between two 1-2 games, Southwestern Heights 8, Cimarron 52. Sublette and Whitewater Remington, of course, did not play. Sublette is still in quarantine. 0-3 Elkhart versus 0-3 Wichita Independent. Wichita Independent wins that one 36-19. And 0-3 Stanton County versus 3-0 Sedgwick. Sedgwick wins that one 63-0. All right, in the Great West Athletic Conference, 3-0 Colby was at 1-2 Smoky Valley, and Colby gets an 18-0 win. 3-0 Holcomb was at 0-3 Nickerson. The Longhorns win that one 40-18. 2-1 Goodland at 1-2 Scott City. This was one that, Coach Watt thought would be a good game. I thought would be a pretty good game too, but Scott City gets a pretty dominant win. 32-6 Scott City over Goodland. Hugoton 2-1 at 3-0 Cheney, and Cheney showed why they were 3-0. Cheney gets the 51-12 win over a pretty solid Hugoton team. And let's see. Of course, we've already talked about Cimarron Southwestern Heights. Cimarron won that one 52-8, and Ulysses Liberal. Ulysses won that one 22-12. So now let's take a look at the Southern Plains Iroquois Association. Now, two of these Southern Plains games I was unable to find scores on. I'm not 100% sure why. Okay, we'll talk about them when we get to them. First of all, in the biggest game of the night, probably for Western Kansas 8-man ball, Hodgman County, 3-0 Hodgman County versus 3-0 Leota. Leota gets the 58-8 win over Hodgman County. We also had 3-0 Southgrave versus 1-1 Ness City. Now, Ness City was off to a 1-1 start, but Ness City has been, very good at times in recent years. Southgrave wins that one 48-0. We had 3-0 Spearville at 0-3 Stockton. That one a surprisingly close 14-7. And 1-2 Buckland at 1-2 South Central. South Central gets a 52-6 win over Buckland. Mineola 1-2 at 0-3 Ingalls. Mineola gets a 66-20 win in that game. Now, the two games that I did not have scores for, or actually one score and one partial score. Did not find a score anywhere I looked for Satanta and Dighton. I'm going to say there's a chance that game may have gotten canceled or maybe even moved to another day. Maybe they're playing it today. I looked at every source I could find and could not find a score for Satanta and Dighton. So if we got anybody listening that knows what happened between Satanta and Dighton, let us know in the comments. Also, 0-3 Kiowa County versus 2-1 Kinsley. The only score I could find was a first quarter score, and that was 14-6 Kiowa County. Now, to the best of my knowledge, that's not a final, but I suppose there's a possibility that the game could have been suspended for some reason. I don't think there was any nasty weather around last night. Sometimes games get suspended for other reasons, like the lights go out and won't work or something like that. But all I could find was a first quarter score on that game. So I'm not sure exactly what happened between Kiowa County and Kinsley. But the first quarter score we had was 14-6 Kiowa County. Okay. Now let's take a look at those picks. And obviously two of those because we couldn't get final scores, we can't really determine the picks on those. But let's go up to the WAC. Hayes versus Garden City. I picked Garden City. I thought that Garden City might upset Hayes. Coach Watt, of course, picked Hayes, and Coach Watt got that one right. We both picked Carroll over Dodge City. We both got that one right. We both picked Cape and Mount Carmel over Great Bend, and that game did not happen. We both picked Syracuse over TMP, and both of us got that one wrong. We both picked Lakin over Ellis, and obviously got that one right. We split on Southwestern Heights Cimarron. Coach Watts picked Southwestern Heights. I picked Cimarron. Cimarron won that one. We split on Sublette and Whitewater Remington. Coach Watt picked Sublette. I picked Whitewater Remington. That one did not play. We split on Elkhart Wichita Independent. Coach Watt picked Elkhart. I picked Wichita Independent. Wichita Independent got the win 36-19. We both picked Sedgwick over Stanton County, and Sedgwick won big over Stanton County. We both picked Colby over Smoky Valley and got that one right. We both picked Holcomb over Nickerson and got that one right. We split on Goodland and Scott City. Coach Watt picked Goodland. I picked Scott City. Scott City got the win. We split on Hugoton Cheney. Coach Watt picked Hugoton. I picked Cheney. Cheney won 51-12. Let's see. Of course, Coach Watt did not pick the 8-man games, but let's see how I did in the 8-man games. I picked Hodgman County over Leota and was wrong about that one. South Gray over Ness City. I got that one right. Spearville over Stockton. I got that one right. Buckland over South Central. I got that one wrong. And Mineola over Ingalls. I got that one right. So I missed several. Coach Watt missed several. We're showing once again that neither one of us knows as much as we probably think we do. Guys, it was a great Friday. We've got week 4 in the books. Week 5, we're going to continue to see fluidity in schedules. I think, we'll go over some of the matchups that are coming up in week 5, but for example, Ulysses has had to scramble to reschedule some games, and they've got Borger, Texas coming to town. So let's take a look at next week's action in the leagues that we pick the games from. Okay. In the WAC next week, we've got Garden City at Liberal. It's Liberal's homecoming. Garden City is 1-3 and Liberal is 0-4. Hayes is open next week. Okay. Great Bend 0-3 at Dodge City 1-3. I'm sorry, guys. I got something is going on with my eye. I apologize, but I need to get an eye drop or something. Here we go. Great Bend and Dodge City. I'm going to pick Dodge City in that game. Dodge City's 1-3. I've seen Dodge play. They're to be honest with you, they're probably a better team than their record indicates. Now, in the High Plains League, we've got 3-1 Syracuse at 2-2 Cimarron. I'll be honest with you. Syracuse has looked good this year, but so has Cimarron, and Cimarron's played a lot tougher competition. I'm going to pick Cimarron in that game, even though they're 2-2. 1-1 Sublette at 0-4 Elkhart. I think the Wildcats should get their first win of the year against Sublette. So I'm picking Elkhart over Sublette. We've got 2-2 Lakin at 1-3 Southwestern Heights. To me, Lakin ought to be the favorite there. Lakin's lost a couple. They've lost a couple to pretty good opponents. They've lost to Goodland and to Stratford, Texas. Although Stratford, took a pretty big loss against Panhandle this weekend. I still think Lakin's probably the better team between those two, though. Stanton County at Whitewater Remington. I'm going to pick Whitewater Remington in that matchup. All right, in the GWAC, we've got Colby versus Southeast of Saline, 2 4-0 schools. This ought to be a really good game, really probably our area game of the week this coming week. And, man, I'll tell you what, that's a tough one to pick. Colby, I think, has a very strong defense. Southeast of Saline's probably a little stronger on offense. I'm going to go ahead and pick Colby, though, because I know that Colby has played some tough competition and will continue to play some tough competition. Southeast of Saline, I'm not saying they haven't. I'm saying I don't know as much about their competition. All right, we've got 4-0 Holcomb versus 0-3 Larned. Holcomb should continue to roll in that game. We've got 2-2 Hugoton versus 0-4 Nickerson. Hugoton, I think, will get 3-2 against Nickerson. We've got 2-2 Goodland versus Smoky Valley. 1-3 Smoky Valley. I'm going to pick Goodland over Smoky Valley. We've got 2-2 Scott City versus 0-4 Russell. Scott City should be able to handle Russell. I've already picked Cimarron over Syracuse. And I think that's probably a pretty solid pick. We've got 1-3 Ulysses against Borger, Texas. I don't even know what Borger's record is for sure. Okay, Borger is, let's see. Borger would probably be a 5A school in Kansas, okay? They play pretty good competition down there where they are. I think that, to be honest with you, I just don't know enough about Borger, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Ulysses over Borger. We'll see how that game goes. Now, in the Iroquois League, we've got 4-0 South Gray versus 2-0 Meade. Hopefully this game happens. They're both very strong programs. If the game happens and if everyone is healthy, I would pick Meade in that matchup. So I'll go with Meade there. Spearville 4-0 versus Hodgman County 3-1. I think Hodgman County bounces back and gets the win over Spearville this week. Although that, again, will be a heck of a matchup. All right, 2-2 Mineola versus South Central, who is also 2-2. I think Mineola is probably the better team. I'm going to pick them. We've got 0-2 Satanta versus 1-3 Buckland. I'm going to pick Buckland in that game. 1-3 Kiowa County versus 1-1 St. John. I'll go with St. John in that game. And last, 0-4 Ingalls versus 1-1 Dighton. And I'm going to go with the Dighton Hornets in that game. And we'll see how we do next week. Here's the thing, guys. We're going to continue to have, like I said, some fluidity in scheduling, right? We're going to continue to have quarantines for teams. Things are just going to be a little crazy this year, and they're going to continue. They already have been, and they're going to continue to be. But so far, judging from what I've seen at the first of the season, I don't think any of us knew whether we would play a full season or not, and we still don't know. But we're halfway through the season, just about. We're just about halfway through the regular season. And so far, so good. You know, I think that I see very encouraging signs that we're going to get a full season in. Obviously, there will be some teams that don't, you know, but I overall, I'm really encouraged at the idea that we as a state are probably going to get a full season in. I think things look good for that, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's we've got a lot of good things going on. And so far, while we have had some cancellations here and there, we've not had mass cancellations. And so hopefully we can continue to do well. Now, a lot of that depends on people doing the right things, you know. Do the things you need to do to stay healthy. Do the things you need to do to keep playing. And that's something that hopefully, you know, when you're dealing with young people, while most of the time young people make better decisions than we give them credit for, the potential to make bad decisions is always there, you know, and so that's one of the things that we try to guard against. And so I hopefully, I think that, you know, so far the schools have done a good job. I think they'll continue to do a good job, and I think things look pretty promising for us getting in a full season. We wish everybody the best in the coming weeks. You know, everybody now is playing district games at the 3, 2, and 1A level and the 8-man levels. 4, 5, and 6A, of course, we don't really have district. We play 8 regular season games, and then we seed things for the playoffs. Everybody makes the first round of the playoffs. And so all of the games, I suppose, count towards seeding there at the 4, 5, and 6A level. But districts are going. so far the cancellations have been relatively minimal, and so far the season looks pretty good. We've got some teams that are showing some real strength. We've got some teams that are much stronger than we expected them to be, both in the area and in the state. And then we've got some teams that have probably underperformed a little bit, both in the area and in the state. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what continues to happen here over the next 4 to 5 weeks leading into the playoffs. All right, guys. In the Free Zone with Norm and the Saturday Breakdown are a Back Home Media production. Go to backhomemedia.com, check out their page, find out all the things that Back Home Media has going on. They've got they offer great services. They've got a great slate of podcasts going on. Check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Twitch, Apple Podcasts, really wherever you can find podcasts, we're on those platforms. Back Home Media is on those platforms. So check us out there. You can download audio-only versions there. And as I always say, of course, I am much better looking in an audio-only version, so keep that in mind. Guys, it's been great. We'll talk to you Wednesday. Wednesday, we'll talk about some issues going on in the state. We'll talk about that 96-0 win between with Silver Lake over Oskaloosa, and we'll talk about some other things that are happening around the state. Until then, guys, keep yourselves safe, keep yourselves healthy, and we'll see you Wednesday. Thanks a lot.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought in a person, the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arms, to this playful assault, to disgrace in its arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death or water, left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits, wear it, the crown fits.